In 1940, America built the third longest suspension bridge in the world, and lost it 4 months later, on live camera. But this isn't just a story about a bridge falling down. It's about the 4 months in between, when thousands of people knowingly drove across a bridge that moved like the sea, and loved it. And it's about the last living creature on the bridge, a small black dog named Tubby. The Tacoma Narrows Bridge was born from ambition and a tight budget. The original design called for a deep, sturdy deck. But a famous engineer proposed something revolutionary, a deck less than a third as deep. Slender. Elegant. And 2/3 cheaper. It would be the most flexible bridge ever built. The design was approved. Construction crews noticed something odd before it even opened. In light wind, the deck rippled. The bridge opened on July 1, 1940. Within days, it had a nickname, Galloping Gertie. In wind, the deck rose and fell in slow waves, sometimes several feet high. Drivers watched cars ahead of them sink out of sight and float back up. And here's the strange part, people loved it. Families drove hours just to ride the Galloping Bridge. It became a roller coaster you could take your car on. The engineers were not laughing. They tied the deck down with heavy cables anchored to the shore. The cables snapped. They installed hydraulic buffers. The galloping continued. A professor was hired to study the problem. His wind tunnel test suggested the deck's solid shape was catching the wind dangerously. His report recommending urgent changes was delivered, days before it was too late. On the morning of November 7, 1940, the wind over the Narrows reached 42 miles per hour. The bridge had survived stronger winds before. But that morning, something changed. The familiar up-and-down galloping suddenly stopped, and the deck began to twist. One sidewalk rose 28 feet above the other, then swapped, twisting back and forth like a ribbon, every 5 seconds. Leonard Coatsworth, a newspaper editor, was driving across when the twisting began. His car was thrown against the curb. He crawled out and clung to the concrete on his hands and knees, the road lurching under him like a living thing. He crawled hundreds of yards to safety, losing his shoes, his hands bleeding. But in the back seat of his abandoned car, was his daughter's dog, Tubby. 2 men tried to go back for the dog. One was a professor who reached the car, opened the door, and Tubby, terrified beyond reason, bit his hand. The twisting grew too violent. The rescuers barely made it back. At 11:02 a.m., with cameras rolling from the hillside, the deck tore open. Concrete and steel, thousands of tons, folded and fell into the water. Tubby was the only life lost that day. The footage spread around the world. And then came the question, how does a bridge built to survive 120-mile-per-hour winds die in a 42-mile-per-hour breeze? The answer changed engineering forever. It wasn't about strength at all. The deck's solid, thin shape caught the wind like an airplane wing. Each twist fed the next one, taking energy from the steady wind, a phenomenon now known as aeroelastic flutter. The bridge wasn't blown down. It shook itself to death. Today, no major bridge on Earth is built without wind tunnel testing, a direct legacy of Gertie. The replacement bridge, opened 10 years later with an open truss deck, still stands. And the original? It's still down there, at the bottom of the Narrows, now an artificial reef, and officially protected as a historic site. That famous film of the twisting bridge is shown to every engineering student on the planet, not as a horror story, but as a promise, we test now, because we didn't test then. Every bridge you've ever crossed is calmer because Gertie danced. If this story amazed you, subscribe. There are more engineering secrets they never told you.